Hello, everyone. I am Megan Graham. Happy, oh my gosh, I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. It's been a busy, busy week. And I just wanted to come on to chat about a recent experience that I had with the patches. So I love it when I get a good story. And I just love to bring you guys that story so I can just kind of tell you what is going on with the patches. So recently, Jeff and I have a young friend. He is 22 years old and he is a fantastic baseball player. So he's an athlete. And Jeff and I were talking about it. We think he's a terrific kid. And we were talking about what could we do and how could we support him to get him closer to his goals. And of course, what I do for much of my career is to help people, to help my clients with the patches, to figure out what is right for them to start with, to kind of walk them through the process. So I need to know the LifeWave patches back and front. And so I was really excited and I decided to talk to him. His name is Ryan. And so I decided to talk to Ryan and tell him about the patches, knowing that if he wanted patches, of course, I was just going to get patches for him. He's 22. So, in my mind, I just wanted to let him know and see if there was something that I could help him with. So I explained what the patches were, and he was really interested in it. And he said, anything that could possibly give me a competitive advantage would be fantastic. And so one of the good things, of course, especially all of the patches, they're non-transdermal. So we know that if an athlete is using these patches, it's going to be fine for the various federations, whether they're playing football, tennis, they're skiing, they're playing soccer, they can wear the patches. So this is a really good thing because if you don't know this, I was an athlete, and for some sports, there are some things that you can't take. But when you put the patches on, you're not taking anything. So anyway, told him about the patches and talked to him and decided to sample him some different patches and then touch base with him after he wore the patches so I could hear about what his results were. So interestingly enough, the first patch that I actually gave to him was the Energy Enhancer. If you don't know this, Energy Enhancer is the first patch that LifeWave David Schmidt ever came up with. It's a 2-patch set. So if you get this patch, make sure you look in the envelope. There's 2 sections. Make sure you're wearing a tan and a white. I always tell people when I explain anything about this patch, make sure you're wearing both. So Energy Enhancer was the first patch that he wore. And I saw him the next day after he tried the Energy Enhancer, and I was like, what did you think? Did you notice anything? And truly, I didn't know if he would be astute enough to notice it or not. I always know that the patches are doing something, but sometimes people don't realize because the changes are subtle. So he said, it's so funny. I had it on all day and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was doing anything. And then he said, I was at work and it was 7:00. I had already been to practice. I had already worked out and I had worked all day. And 7:00 is when I hit the wall and I get tired. And he was like, guess what happened? I didn't get tired. And I never got that exhausted feeling that I usually get at the end of the day. And he was like, that was incredible. What's in that patch? And I explained it to him and I said, there's nothing in the patch. And I kind of explained a little bit about the process of the patch. So super interesting because he's only 22, but he did notice an increase in energy. But he also noticed that it was subtle. So the next patch that I sampled him was the X39, because what I wanted to figure out was which patch was going to really behoove him for his training, for his competition. Like, how could we push him forward in his sport? Just because any athlete can use any advantage, right? Little tiny changes can make a huge difference between being good and being the best. So the next patch that he wore was the X39. And I saw him that day and he was like, I'm so excited. I'm testing out the X39 today. He was super jazzed about it. Again, saw him the next day and asked him, how was the X39? And he was like, so this is so interesting. He said, I wore it all day. And he said, again, I wasn't sure. He said, I felt good, but he said, I'm 22. I feel good, right? And he said, and then I went to practice and I was throwing a lot. He's like, over and over and over. It was repetitive throwing because he's a baseball player. So this is where it gets really interesting. He said always, every single time he throws that much of practice, the next day his arm is sore. Without fail, always sore. And he said he woke up the next day with zero soreness, no soreness. And he was like, that's what the patch did for me. My recovery was better and I had no soreness. And so that's really interesting, isn't it? I just thought it was so interesting. So I kind of like processed it. And I texted him later and I said, Ryan, this is so interesting to me. Because one of the things, sometimes I will set people up with the patches. And I said, Ryan, sometimes they'll say, oh, I didn't feel anything. And I have to lead them through a series of questions and ask them different things about how they're feeling for them to realize that they're actually feeling different, but they're so busy and they're not used to looking for subtle changes. So they sometimes don't notice it. They're like, oh, I don't think these are doing anything for me. And I'll start to talk to them and I'm like, how do you usually feel at night? Are you tired? Like, can you do whatever you want? Are you motivated? Are you getting tasks done? And what always comes from it is people are like, oh, I've been doing a lot of errands that I had put to the side, or at the end of the day, I still have gas in the tank. So it's these subtle changes that frequently people are noticing in the beginning, that they may not notice, they may not notice unless I ask them questions. And so I said, Ryan, why do you think that you were able to pick up on this? Like, why were you able to pick up on the changes in your athletic performance? And he said, well, when you want to be the best, when you want to be an athlete and you're doing everything you can to excel at your sport, you take stock of every single thing every day. He said, you're thinking about how your arm feels. You're thinking about how fast you can run. What weights were you lifting in the gym? How was your practice compared to last practice? He's like, your coach is talking to you about your performance. So he said, we're trained to be dialed into what we're feeling and what's happening with our bodies. So we know when there is a teeny tiny change. And I just found that to be really fascinating, honestly. And it makes a lot of sense because for those of you that don't know, I was an athlete. I still consider myself to be an athlete, but I was an athlete my entire life. I played multiple sports. And I agree with him that what your body can do. Like, I knew what my max deadlift was. I knew what my max squat was. And I knew when it changed, when I wasn't feeling good, when I initially got sick with some various things. So thought that was really interesting. The other things that I'm also testing for him, we are next going to be testing the carnosine, which I think is going to be absolutely fascinating to see what this does for his stamina, as well as his ability. So a lot of times when you're an athlete or a regular person, lactic acid can be a big issue for you where you wind up burning out and you just kind of can't do anymore. And this tends to be very, very supportive for that. So he is super excited. I sampled him the X39 as well so that he could try that. And so this was kind of an interesting thing. If you guys don't know this, I work with LifeWave. I don't work for LifeWave, and my job is to help my clients. So people, and by the way, if you are new to the patches and you're looking for someone to be your consultant, my email is in the description. It's for business inquiries only because, of course, I'm so busy even with that. So please feel free if you're thinking about using the patches and signing up with me and you have questions, you can ask me all the questions you want. My email is there. And I also have a really cool educational page that I link to in the description. So this is what I do for a living. But what's so interesting is even though I do it for a living, my main passion in what I do is always helping people. And so, these patches have made such a tremendous difference for me, for my family, in so many ways. So I get really excited about when I get to share them with someone. Like the thought of changing his ability to achieve his dreams and goals is so exciting to me. So I was so excited. He was starting to research the patches and look into them and learn about them. And he also said that he was actually talking to his teammates and telling him about the different ones for discomfort, for sleep, for recovery. And he was very excited about it. So in the conversation, one of the things I was even more excited about was he actually opened up that his mom has some things going on with her health and wellness. And he specifically told me what was going on. And he said, is there anything that might help her? And I said, well, there's no guarantees, right? There's no guarantees that this is going to be the thing. And your mom needs to be doing all the right things, seeing her doctor, following whatever nutrition her doctor wants her to do and all of that. And obviously checking with her doctor, right? So I always make sure to say that and have people know that. But I said, I do have a combination that I think could be really helpful that I'm so excited. Because in reality, his mom is probably my age. I'm 49 years old. She might be my age, she might be my husband's age, but she's probably right in that range. And so I was really excited to have the opportunity to also get the patches on his mom's body. And so the patches that we're going to do for her, we are going to start her off really, really slowly on the X39. I'm also going to add in the Aeon patch. And then we are going to cycle in the carnosine patch a few times a week. This is one of my top favorite patches. I feel like this is the most underrated patch. And because there is often so little that we can say about these patches online, my dog is just standing on the back of my Alfie. Alfie, get down, please. Come on, buddy. Always during a YouTube, sorry, he just decides to bark out the window at people that he sees walking their dogs. But anyway, my favorite thing is when I can recommend patches and I can make a big difference. Unfortunately, I can't always say every detail of the things that I know that the patches can do online simply because of compliance and all of that. But I always get excited when I can make different combinations for people that I think might behoove them and support them, because I do know how much these patches can do. So that's just a little bit about what happened this week with me with the patches. And it was interesting because oftentimes I will say most of my clients are over 40 years old. Probably generally speaking, my clients are somewhere on average between 40 and 70 years old. I have clients of all different ages. And let me just hop into these comments too. I'm so sorry I didn't read the comments, guys. First one says, a friend of mine in his mid 30s, he's in very good condition. He said about 3 weeks into beginning the X39, he was smashing it in the gym. That's amazing. That's so, so awesome. And yes, and I can't say, I've definitely heard that with a lot of people. So when I started them, I was suffering from very awful fatigue, like you can't even imagine, could barely get out of bed. And I didn't smash it in the gym, but I was able to go back into the gym and I was able to start walking again and cooking and doing things that honestly I wasn't able to do before that. And now that we've moved into a healthy apartment where there isn't mold, I just find that I am jumping rope in the gym again. My weights are going up in the gym. And what I'm wearing most of the time, I'm wearing these two and I'm wearing the X49 as well. That's a really awesome testimony. I love that. And that's what's so cool. So many times people will say, oh, well, I don't really have any problems. Like, why would I wear it? Well, for me, I would always get the patch on my body before, it's like waiting until you need to drink water. If I could tell anybody anything, it would be take care of your body before you feel that you must. Take care of your body before you feel awful. I thought I was taking care of my body in my 30s and 40s, but what I was really doing was staying skinny and making my skin look good. And that wasn't taking care of my body. And I didn't learn how to take care of my body until I got really sick with various conditions. And I don't think I'm even supposed to say what my various conditions are because of all the stuff with LifeWave, but I wish that I had done more before I thought I needed to. Sarah is on here to give her testimony. Sarah, thank you so much. It says, I have to give my testimony on these X39 patches. They are literally life-changing. Yes, they are. My boyfriend and I started them January 2024. I had real issues going on that I healed from. They are amazing. I am so happy for you, Sarah. That is so incredible. It's very cool. My job has been amazing. I have worked with thousands of people to set them up with the patches that were right for them. And my favorite thing is hopping on the phone. I'm old school. I grew up in the 80s, so the phone is my friend and texting is fine, but I would much rather just have like a 15-minute conversation, hear what's going on. And then usually my customers and I text as they're using the patches. And I always just say, like, text me if it's good, text me if it's bad, tell me what's going on so that we can be in communication and you can have the best experience possible. But it's very exciting to hear the different stories that happen for people. They are so different for every single single person. And apparently patches can't fix my grammar, that's for sure. But it's just such a little tiny patch, and yet it makes such a big difference. And I'm not obviously allowed to recommend these patches for dogs because same thing, it's a compliance issue. But I personally use them on my dog, not recommending for you to do so or say that you're supposed to. And I have noticed improvements, and my vet was surprised that she's doing better with her neurological condition than he expected. And is she getting what the neurologist told her to get to? Absolutely. She is getting the finest, canine medical care that she could possibly get. But you better believe that I'm putting those patches on her. She is wearing X39 and carnosine today. I had energy enhancer on her one day this week, and usually once a week I do glutathione on her. So she is getting patched up for sure. And someone asked, Sarah, what improvements have you experienced? That's a great question. She had a mass on my liver and gallstones 2 weeks later. All that pain was gone. I had a Kundalini awakening in March that I don't believe I would have not had otherwise, as I was too unbalanced. I feel like that's pretty amazing too. And Sarah, did you just wear the X39 patch, or did you wear a different patch as well? I've always noticed that, and I don't have it with me, but the Aeon tends to bring me a lot of balance. I don't wear the Aeon as much as I used to. I feel like I wear my patches a little bit leaner, and I like to cycle my patches. So I wear different things during the week, and I often have my clients do the same thing. But those are amazing results, and I really appreciate you coming on to share those. I bet you're probably like me. I plan on wearing my patches forever. I love what they've done for me. And I truly wish, I was actually telling Ryan, the young man that I was speaking to about the patches, I wish I had 1,000, sleeves of these that I could just give away, because I would love to give them to veterans. I would love to give them to people that need a little bit more support with their stress levels. Like, I know what a big difference they can make. And sometimes it's very scary for people to try something new, because there's so much noise out there and there's so many products and people don't really know what's going to make a difference. And so I always sometimes I can even be shy about telling people about them because they sound far out when you hear about them. Like, for me, I was like, that sounds crazy. But now that I know how they make me feel, I will wear them forever. They've made such a massive difference. So super awesome story. Sarah says, I have read online how someone found a hurt cardinal, so they put their patch on it and she got better right away. That's such an interesting story. And I will tell you, and again, I'm not telling you to use these for your pets. I'm just telling you stories about me. But one of my animals got a urinary tract infection. And of course, I brought him to the, his vet, and they gave him antibiotics. And, obviously you always do that, right? You can't skip that. But my mentor said, well, you could try a glutathione and an X39 on him, even though we're not recommending them for pets. He was playing in 5 minutes. He was rolling around like a kitten, and he was playing in 5 minutes. He felt better. It's like not that hard to look at your animal and go, oh, wow, he felt better. Were all of his problems solved? Of course not. Things can't change in 5 minutes, right? Maybe your discomfort could change, but really, really positive changes take longer than that. However, it was still very, very exciting to see. And Sarah said, I started with the Aeon, which is what we started with. We bought the big $1,600 package. So I had most of them for a bit if I didn't sell them. Oh, I think that's so awesome. And I love the Aeon patch. And again, that is a patch that I feel like so many people would benefit from, because so many people are stressed and so many people are inflamed and they don't realize it. I was one of those people that I had extremely high levels of inflammation, which I will say I'm working on. I kind of had to start at square one with my inflammation, because unfortunately my kryptonite is when I live in a water damaged building, moldy building. And our last apartment had a water leak again, which is one of the issues with why Lola and I both got sick. So I'm starting at square one, but I did just get my labs back and already things are improving. And again, I'm not just saying, oh, this was just my patches. I did many different things. I always want people to understand this. I did many different things the last few months. One was moving out of a moldy home. Another was taking anti-inflammatories like histocomplex. Another though was wearing the Aeon, wearing the 39, wearing the carnosine, and cycling in glutathione. And on my labs, I was medium high risk for having a heart attack or stroke. I think I got my labs back in, oh my gosh, back in August, I was like basically on the risk of high risk, which is super scary. And it wasn't feeling good. And this can happen to me when I'm living in mold, which causes inflammation for me. But anyway, I just got my labs back and I'm low risk again. And that felt pretty good. Like that was a positive change. I did other things though, other than wearing the patches. But do I think the patches supported my body? Of course they did. And those labs felt fabulous. Everything isn't perfect. I still have some work to do, but man, it made a difference. And Sarah said, I promise this is not a gimmick. If you're apprehensive, but it does work. My nails started growing back too at 44, just like I was in 6th grade again. And I have been off the patches for a year. That's so funny that you stopped using the patches though. I feel like, why not? I mean, totally up to you. But if anything, for folks, I would always say at least wear it for a few days a week, because there's always stuff happening underneath the surface that we may not know is happening. And if all that stuff was able to happen to you once, this is just, I mean, you do what you want to do. But if you want to keep up those results and you want to keep up the wellness, I personally would keep using them. And it's not personal to me. I'm not selling you patches. I'm not making money, whether you use your patches or not. But just know that we live in a world where we are constantly being inundated with different chemicals. Alfie, he is on my coffee table over there. Excuse me while I get my dog. He's being naughty. No. This little, I call him my pampered goblin. This little pampered goblin was trying to eat my plants. So I've got to put him down, even though they're pet safe. But anyway, I would definitely say always try to wear those patches, not medical advice, but try to wear them at least for a few days a week, just to give your body that tune up. Because we live in a world with pollution, we live in a world with, I know a lot of people think that Wi-Fi signals are fine for us and they don't matter at all, but they do. They totally do. There's just a lot of stuff that we're being inundated with, and it's not one thing. I'm not, like, do I have my phone right in front of me? Of course I do. Do I use Wi-Fi? Yes, I do. But I think even if we're not athletes, we all need an advantage in life, because the world isn't set up the way it was in the 80s. It was honestly, things were healthier in the 80s. And I know some people don't think about that much, but there are so many new chemicals. I mean, Roundup isn't new, but I don't really think it was a great thing that it was ever invented personally. And there's just so much out there. Sarah says her nails still grow. And Sarah says it's just money. If I could have sold them as a business, I might have been able to. I just want to get on them again, but not working and just Ubering lately. It has not been easy, but I'm trying to get them. Well, Sarah, like, here's what I would always say. First of all, there's a great class it's an attraction marketing class. And if you ever want a link to it, I'll send it to you. It's a $27 class. I think if you love something and you feel as passionately about it as you do, I don't look at it as selling, and I don't take it personally, whether people want to wear the patches or not. I don't show up in people's inboxes and like DM people and tell them about the patches, because I don't want that done to me. But, you always you can hop on social media. You can tell people when you're Ubering, if you're talking. The way that I mention patches is they're a huge part of my life. I love to talk about them, just like I was talking to Ryan. And so don't be afraid to share them just like share what they've done for you, or make them a part of your conversation, because the way that I look at it, there are so many people that are so in need of something like this, and it's all the delivery. And I know it's scary. I know it's scary to tell people about things, because like none of us ever know how people are going to be back to us when we tell them something. And we get a little bit afraid of like, what if I tell them, and what if they get mad at me, or they just feel like I'm trying to sell. As long as what's in your heart is, I want to help people and I believe in this, and I think that I just want to share this. Just keep sharing with people and don't give up. Like, remember, I will honestly say, and this is probably true, anybody feel free to chime in. If you're using the LifeWave patches, or just if you've heard about them, but if you use the LifeWave patches, how many times did you hear about them before you decided to actually try them? For me, it was probably 5 or 7 times. So just know that usually the first time you mention them, somebody might not be interested. But if you just low key make them part of a conversation without actually making somebody feel like they have to say yes or no, you can talk about them as much as you want. I mean, my husband and I talk about the patches all the time because, like, I was so excited to tell him. I was like, Jeff, they made a big difference for Ryan at his baseball practice and after his baseball practice. And like, this is so cool. And now we get to help his mom. So for me, it's not just for the patches are a huge part of my business that I do every day. I love it. I'm blessed that I'm able to I lead with my heart, with service, and I help people. And when I work with clients, I try to work with them on how can we save them money. First of all, that's always a big thing. How can I get them as lean of an order that they need so that they can use these hopefully forever? And how can I set them up with something so it's really successful? And then following up, answering their questions, making it so that they have a good experience is so important. So anyway, for me, I feel like this is like a calling. It's something that I can do where I change people's lives, and I get paid for making people feel better and feel more like themselves. So just don't be afraid. And it says I'm just now starting to get paid on Facebook, so I'm definitely looking into options for being an influencer, recovery from opioids. I have a lot of great knowledge to pass along. Just a personal note. And I don't like, this is what's funny. I don't even call myself, like, I don't think of myself as an influencer. I just think of, so here's the thing. Every single day, I've been snapshotting them. I get at least 5 emails a day from companies asking to pay me or asking to send me their products for free so I can talk about them, because they know that people use many things that I speak about. I don't take that. I never take that. I'm talking, I get hundreds a month and I don't take that. What I talk about are things that I cannot help to but talk about because I'm so passionate about them. Like, I just sent my mother patches, in the mail because her hip is bothering her. She's 82 and she's walking with a cane. And I was like, Mom, I'm the patch lady. Let me send you patches. I can tell you how to use them. I know what to do for you. And, it's funny because she's conventional and she's like, oh, okay, those patches, that's fine. So anyway, I just think it's like something that I talk about what I love and I get to share what I love. I share the patches. I'm also, I don't want to say I'm retired. I'm a hairstylist as well. I don't really do it anymore because of the chemicals. I share my favorite low tox hair products too. I just share things that I love. I don't know if it makes me an influencer. I want to share things that I know people are going to love and use, and I want to share how to use them well. So that's what I do as a consultant. I'm always talking with my clients. We're talking about like what would be the best thing for them. Someone said I just became a brand partner. I find it complicated to become an earner. Is this just me? I love that you give out patches. When you say you find it complicated to become an earner, I don't know, what do you mean? And also, who do you have that's supporting you? Who's the person that signed you up? And do they know about that at all? Because that makes a big difference. And you love that I give out the patches. I will say I don't always give out the patches. First of all, I love the patches, but I'm on my own. I don't want to say like, yeah, but I'm on a fixed income, so I can't just always afford to give out patches. And for the most part, here's the thing. If I'm working with people and they want to try the patches, I always tell them always tell them to actually just get the patches, because if you don't like them, you can return them, but you need to try them for a month. Okay, it says I went through the website. So this is what people don't usually know. When you go through the website, like if you sign up with someone like me, you have someone to help you. So my clients, my customers, and my folks, my brand partners that are selling call me and I help them. So they have like a personal consultant. When you sign up through the website, you get a random consultant that you have no say in, that you don't get to choose. There's no such thing as just signing up through the company. What you have is a consultant that it sounds like didn't take the time to greet you and say, I'm your consultant. But I guarantee you that if you call LifeWave, you're going to see you have a consultant. They just haven't reached out to you. So I hate to say, but that is the problem with getting a random consultant, that when you need help, there's nobody to help you. But you should call LifeWave. It's 1-866-202-0065. And I would call LifeWave and say, I need help from my consultant and I haven't heard from them. I need their contact info, because whoever is benefiting from you getting the patches should be the person that's also helping you. That's how it works. So yes, on your own to figure out how to share and where stuff is on the website and what to do, very, very hard. That's why if you want to share, that's why I just made something about, I don't know when you signed up, by the way, and I'm glad that you're liking the patches for sure. Okay, so I'll answer your other questions too. Glad you're liking the patches, but try to get someone that can help you, because you should. It's so important, and it'll be so much easier. Like, I mean, I help the living daylights out of my clients. Like, I was on the phone with a lady the other day. We were picking out her patches. We were on the phone, going through the website because she was confused, and she was like, man, like I didn't expect this. And she's like, I don't want to take your time. And I said, well, first of all, I just want you to understand, like, this is I do other things too, right? I work with other companies, but my full-time job is that I'm online and I make income, which is not typical, by the way. So I'm not saying that what I do is typical for everyone. I've been a business person since I was like 13. I'm 49 and I have been helping people and growing businesses literally since I was 13. It's just my nature. But I said to her, I want you to know you're not taking up my time. You are supporting me by buying patches through me. And this pays, I pay my medical bills from this. I pay for Lola's chemo and her neurologist. And again, not typical at all, but that is what I do. And I am so grateful. So if I'm sitting on the phone with somebody, helping them get through the website, like, thank you. I am so blessed that you took the time to sign up with me, because first of all, I've been through chronic illness the past few years. And yes, am I much better than I was before? Of course I am. But I still have a ways to go. And I couldn't ever just go back to my old job. So the people that think that they're like wasting my time when we get on the phone or I help them make choices, you're giving me my life back. So anyway, and that's what you can do for other people. Help them and make it easier. What patches would I give out as a Christmas present? So, it's just kind of hard. What I always just want to make sure of is that somebody is going to wear the patches. Before I would give the patches, I would make sure, even if you're gifting them, this is just me, I would make sure that the person is going to wear them. Because they are expensive, and I'm not trying to discourage you, but make sure that they know what they are. Just communicate with them, because what I don't want you to do is, like, have you ever just given someone something and then they don't value it as much as when they bought it? Make sure they want these. Like, that's why when I was giving Ryan patches, I am going to give Ryan, so I just gave him a whole envelope of energy enhancer. Now, I don't usually do that, but before I did that, I had him try a few. I made sure he wore them. I made sure he liked them, because it's a lot of money. We need to make sure that people are going to wear them. So if I were giving anything, 100% X39 all day long. But give someone a few samples, even if you're gifting them. Just make sure they're going to use them and not throw them in a drawer and waste them. I know it's unsolicited advice. You didn't ask me about that part, but I just don't want you to waste your money, because sometimes even when things are free, people are just not in the headspace where they're willing to take a chance. And I don't know why, because any change, like if I'm 49 and my mitochondria are starting to be obviously more dysfunctional and I'm aging and things are just changing, anything that gives me an advantage where I can feel better and do more is such a good thing for me. But people are just a little bit slow to realize, oh, maybe I should care about my body. So just make sure they're going to wear those patches. I just don't want you to waste your money. And Sarah says, that's me too. I'm authentically sharing my experiences, but I agree. I would not do anything either. I'm just not one to push anything on anyone except for these patches, something to think about. Yeah. And Sarah, I want you to get out there. I don't benefit from you being successful, but I honestly want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to be comfortable, to be able to pay their bills. Two, I want to share that message. And that is one of the reasons why I come on here to talk about my patches and what they've done for me, because there are so many people that need to feel better. I mean, when I was so sick and I couldn't get out of bed and my husband would bring me, it's so hard for people to understand that that was happening to me, but it was so hard for me, and it was hard for my husband as well, because when you're married to someone and they weren't like that and then they're so sick, even if no one talks about it, it's hard for that person too. It was hard for both of us. I couldn't do my half of the stuff that a married, I couldn't hold up like my bargain with like cleaning or being fun. And so thank goodness that my friend told me about these patches, and she doesn't sell them. She literally shares them with a few friends, and she was gracious enough. She just reminded me, Megan, watch the video. Please watch the video. These are going to make a difference. She's like, they're not your treatment. They're not your cure. You still need to see your doctor. You still need to do all of your good things, but put this patch on too. I promise you, you will feel different. And she was right. She was so right. And I am eternally grateful that she actually told that to me, because what if she just didn't bother and she was like, oh, what if Megan shoots me down? What if she doesn't listen to me? She had to tell me several times. She was like, watch the video. It's going to be worth it. And when I watched the video, I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. And I will say the video she sent me was not compliant at all. Like, it was David talking like about what they really do, but it was chef's kiss. And I understood, and I bought the patches, and I have never looked back. And absolutely, I'm happy. I think it's Saibala. Happy to share. Find out who you're signed up under for sure, because they've got to help you. And if they don't help you, tell LifeWave you want to know who your upline is. Your upline are the people above them, because all of these people are benefiting from you being signed up under them, and that means they need to work and help you and answer your questions, because that's what we get. We get paid to do that, and it's our pleasure to do that. So find out who you're under, please, please, please. And Sarah says, I appreciate you. Thank you. It says, I found you after I started my patch journey, as I did a YouTube deep dive. So I've always loved your videos, even if I didn't talk until now. But thank you for talking, because just so you know, I love it when you guys come into the comments. I love it when you chat. It makes it so fun for me. So thank you so much. It's always a friendly place, and I just love to hear from you. It is awesome. It says, I was a deli manager at the time, so I couldn't give it my undivided attention. Working 12-hour days, I quit retail, which was the best thing I ever did. Just so you guys know, I don't really always tell my full story of what happened, but I used to be very successful. I owned a hair salon. I always did $500,000 in business a year. That was what I did in business. Sorry to throw it around. I didn't bring all that money home, but very small little salon. I did a lot of business. Then I got sick. And I think it was from working with chemicals. I'm sure it's always more than one thing, but I got really sick, like brain swelling sick, not good, not functioning. I wound up moving. Things happened in various order, but I moved away with my husband from my city to a new city. And I couldn't figure out what I was going to do. And what actually happened, so I started using the patches. I was crazy about the patches. I loved them. And we ran into a money situation that wasn't good, like a money situation where I needed to make money and I was fully disabled. Like, sorry, there's a new family that just moved in and they're really loud, so my dogs are barking. Anyway, so I was fully disabled and I couldn't pay my doctor's bills. And we were in between two things, and I've never really been in this situation in my life. And it's so funny. That was when I threw myself into the patches. People don't really know this story. I had a negative bank balance, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember just praying on it and thinking about it and thinking, I love these patches. I'm going to share them, and I'm going to let go of my fear as much as possible and wake up every single day and think about how I can help people. And if I just concentrate on helping, this is going to be easy for me, and I'm going to bless a lot of people. And then I believe that I'm going to be blessed. And it's just turned into a full-time business for me. And I met so many beautiful people, and I was able to pay my medical bills, and I was able to find stability again. When I started, so I think a lot of people, like, I will just say, like, network marketing has such a bad reputation sometimes, where people are like, why would anybody ever do it? And how dare they? It was such a blessing to me. It was such a blessing to me. I was at such a low point, and all I wanted to do was work, and all I wanted to do was be useful to people and feel like myself again. And I couldn't think of what to do. And the patches, never did I think that that was going to be a business for me, but it turned into that. And anyway, it was the biggest blessing. So just know that even if it seems impossible to share, I'm not saying that just happens for anyone. I had a fire under me because I didn't know what else to do. I was in a rock and a hard place, and I got out of the rock and the hard place in the most beautiful way possible, simply by waking up every day and working very hard helping people. I didn't just like sit back. I mean, I believe that if you treat something like a hobby, you get paid like a hobby. If you take it seriously and you treat it like a job, and you do your very best, it's amazing what magic can happen. So anyway, I'm not trying to get anybody to be me, but I'm just saying that this was an opportunity that I never saw coming. And I remember I was looking through Indeed. I was looking to see if there was any job that I could do while I was disabled. And trust me when I tell you, there was nothing that I could do. And then I found something where I could work on my own health still and improve and keep my stress levels low. Because for me, it's not stressful to help people. And so that was how it happened for me. So sorry to go off on a tangent with my story, but that is the story of how it happened for me. Not typical. If you look at the income disclosure, not typical, but I've never really been a typical person. And I believe with my heart and soul that these are the best thing that I've ever used. So it's genuine, and I genuinely feel that I'm doing the very best for everybody that I come across. Sarah says, I had gifted them before and they didn't use them. They threw them away. So I get that so much. And that's why I'm telling you, don't just gift them without making sure that someone is going to use them. It's really funny, but sometimes in life, even if it's not the patches, sometimes when you do the loveliest things for people, it's very unappreciated. So you've got to make sure that people are receptive and ready for it, because of course we want everybody to use the patches. But what I can tell you is, like, even yesterday I thought about like bringing Ryan a full thing of carnosine, and I was like, let's take this slow. Let's let him try it. Let's make sure that, he's the young baseball player. Let's make sure that he sees the stamina that I expect. Let's make sure that he can run a little bit faster, longer, and his practices go better. And then he's just going to get the patches. But I can tell he's so into it. If you're into it and you're going to wear the patches, it's like you're getting the patches. Sarah said, I hope by me sharing my testimony, people buy from you. It was time to pop on and share that something free I can do for you. I just want to say how I had no idea what you deal with. Sarah, thank you so much. That's so nice. And actually, though, I hope I appreciate that. And that's like such a blessing for you to do. But also, I hope that you will get out there and share, and just know that, people need what you're talking about. People need to hear it. And so many times in life, we sit back and we're so afraid that if we start sharing, people, like, we don't have this childlike thing where we're just like, hey, these patches are like the best thing I've ever used. Since I've been wearing these, like, and there's stuff that happened that the problem is there's so much stuff that I'm not even supposed to tell anyone that happened. So, like, I can't say it all happened from these, but when I started wearing these patches 2 months later, I had bald spots. My recesses of my hair were bald. And 2 months later, I had baby hairs again. I was doing other things, not just the patches, but my skin got more beautiful. I started being able to sleep, and I didn't need to take Tylenol PM, which was a disgusting habit that I had for years because I couldn't sleep and I didn't know what to take. I haven't taken a Tylenol PM since I started the patches, and I took it for 20 years. If you know how bad that is, it's so bad. I stopped taking Tylenol PM. My short-term memory improved. My skin got so much nicer. I'm 49, so any improvement in my skin is great. Just so many different things that I'm able to do. The tremors in my hands improved. Just a lot of different stuff improved. And I will just say, I still have so far to go with my health. I mean, I got my labs back, and they took a huge dive from the fact that we were living in mold. So I'm restarting a little bit, But thank goodness that I have my patches. Thank goodness that I also have my other stuff. One thing that did happen, so I also, it's so fun. I have something, and I'm not even saying this in relation to the to the patches. So please know that I have something called iron overload. And I will say I got a little bit like complacent. And I usually, there's a really cool website that basically, one, I have to give blood regularly to get rid of iron. But two, I take certain supplements before I eat to help block the absorption of iron. So like when I eat red meat, and I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself and I got a little bit overconfident and I stopped taking it. And don't you know, my iron levels went right up. So I actually wrote that company where I buy my supplements and just said, hey, just wanted to say, thanks. I'm ordering more supplements. I'll never stop taking them again. My iron got out of range again. And that's just to show you, by the way, I was using my patches, but my patches, by the way, just full disclosure, it's not like they stopped my iron from getting out of, it's not like I no longer have hemochromatosis. So I always like to just throw that out there. I am a realist. I still need to take my supplements when I eat red meat. But I still see big improvements, and that's how I feel. Sarah says, just a heads up too, my team found Amazon and Walmart are selling fake ones. Yes, Amazon and Walmart are absolutely selling fake ones. They are. And thank you for bringing this up, Sarah. It says online, so don't fall for imitations. It was a huge problem they were dealing with months ago, but get them legit. Yes, 100%. Amazon and Walmart have so many counterfeit products on their site. And a lot of people don't understand this. I've made videos about it, but people are like, oh, I just want to get it on Amazon. First of all, I just don't buy from Amazon for so many reasons. There's a lot of reasons, but these patches, you want to get these. So when you get these through a brand partner, you're getting them from LifeWave. So our sites, we are your consultants. We are your touch points so that you don't have to call corporate. And also corporate can't answer a lot of your questions for you because they're not allowed to answer. They can answer basic questions and they're very helpful. But if you think that corporate is going to like choose all your patches for you, they're certainly not. Or they're going to get on the, they're not going to like text you every day to tell you like, wear this many times, or maybe you should try this, make sure you do that. So corporate's great. They're awesome. But your consultant is your person if you want someone to help you. When you go through Amazon, you're probably getting fake patches because like for me as a brand partner, when I signed up as a brand partner, I signed something. If I were to sell these patches on Amazon, one, could I sell a ton of patches on Amazon? Of course. You'll get your account taken away from you, which means those patches aren't real because they would be shutting down all of those accounts that are linked up to the patches. So people are counterfeiting them. And think about if somebody wanted to counterfeit these, do you know how easy that would be? Like I used to manufacture beauty products in Vietnam and China. Do you know how easy it would have been for me to make this? So easy. I could get it made, I could get it labeled, I could get it shipped to Amazon. I would never have to see it. I would never have to touch it, and it wouldn't cost me a lot of money. And I could say, I'm not going to do that, obviously, but that's what people do. So yes, Sarah has such a good point. Do not buy them through Amazon. Just checking my phone to make sure my husband isn't coming up because I just got a little text from him. And sometimes he texts me to say, I'm coming up. So I'm just going to make sure. No, he didn't. He was just asking me if I wanted to decorate the Christmas tree tonight, which I probably do. So it was so fun chatting with you guys today, and I'm going to let you know how it goes, not only for the baseball player, Ryan. I know it's going to go really well for him, and I'm super pumped. And by the way, if you guys don't know this, David Beckham wore these when he was playing soccer. Michael Phelps wore these when he was swimming. Tons of NBA players are wearing these. Professional tennis players are wearing these. People that want a athletic advantage are wearing these patches. And so it's very legit. There's a lot of people doing it. Just know if you are wearing the patches, and I always say this again and again, it's not an overnight thing. Give these things time to work. I just got an email from a client and she was like, oh, my mom is wearing, LifeWave, and it's been like a week and she's still having issues with this. First of all, the thing that she's having issues with has absolutely nothing to do with LifeWave. I didn't choose the patches, by the way. What she mentioned isn't something that I've ever seen a change with LifeWave. It's really like a straight discomfort patch, in my opinion. I would have done something else for her. And oh, Sarah said Elton John sang at the LifeWave event, so he might be on them too. I know. I definitely wonder. So I was at it the year before, and Gwen Stefani was there, who, by the way, I mean, she looks so good in person. I mean, I was just mesmerized by how gorgeous her skin was and how beautiful she was. Just absolutely stunning, just stunning. So yeah, it's very possible. I mean, there's so many people wearing them that you would just never guess would wear them. And there's a lot of creative ways to wear them, such as when I got my bad root canal out, and instead of painkillers, I wore a combination of patches on the outside of my cheek, and it worked great. So anyway, it was so nice to see you guys today. Sarah, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And please get out there and share. I mean, you can honestly, driving an Uber, you can share the patches beautifully. Last little story, I had a friend that was super successful with a different company, Isogenics. And by the way, I still use Isogenic shakes. I love them. I don't sell them. I don't share them a lot, but I use them. But this friend made $30 million selling Isogenics. And I was like, we both did fitness competitions together. And I said, what was your secret? And she said, I love the shakes. I still use them to this day. I love the bars. I travel with them. They're part of my daily life. And she said, my secret is just that I shared it all the time. I worked it into every single conversation, and I didn't ask someone if they wanted to buy it. I just said, like, she's like, somebody would say, you're staying in great shape. And she's like, thanks. It's because I always have my bars around and they're delicious and I can eat them, or because I take my shake every day. And she was being truthful, just so you know. And I'm not saying that not saying anybody's gonna make $30 million, but my point is her success was based on simply talking about it in daily conversation. We all recommend things every day, but we get shut down and scared if we might make $20 from it or something. Just talk about it. You talk about things all the time. Don't be shy. If you've got a person in your Uber, talk about the patches. Like, you could change their life. That person in the Uber could have chronic fatigue like what I was experiencing, and you might talk about the patches and change everything for them. So anyway, just don't be shy. I know it's hard to share, but your story was powerful and other people really need to hear it. So thank you so much, you guys. I will be back on again really, really soon. I had a video that was just like popping off on my YouTube, so I didn't come on as early on in the week, but I'm probably gonna be on next Monday, and I can't wait to see you guys there. So thank you and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And if you're new to LifeWave, you will find my links in the description. Feel free to email me if you want to work with me as a consultant. And Sarah says, just want to say how fun this was. I didn't realize it was live when I commented. So imagine my surprise to have this whole conversation. That's so awesome, Sarah. And yeah, I agree. You made this really, really fun. So thank you for chatting, because it makes my day awesome and I love it. So thank you. Have a beautiful day. And I'm glad you came on while I was live. Bye, everybody.